Welcome to the Coach's Corner. We are here at the Tivoli Tap House where you can come get some great food as well as great beer. I'm Tony Almanza, and alongside me is Connor Dockery. Connor, who do we have on the show today?
Well, we're going to kick things off this evening with some cross-country talk as head coach Trent Mack joins us for the first time this season. The women's soccer team's first game is just a few days away, so we'll talk with second-year head coach Tracy Chao. And staying with some soccer chat, we'll bring on women's soccer goalkeeper Erica Torres, who is excited to lock down that Roadrunner net.
So while the soccer season is still ahead of us, the volleyball season is just underway. We'll give you a recap of what happened in MSU Denver sports this week. Our volleyball team started the 2018 season this past weekend competing in the Falcon Wildcat Invitational. After dropping the first of two games, head coach Jenny Glenn rallied her troops to take the final two. Their first victory of the season came against Fresno Pacific on Friday. Junior transfer Morgan Weatherwax dished out 40 assists in the win.
Win number 2 came in thrilling fashion as the Roadrunners rallied from an 0-2 deficit to take the 3-2 victory. The hitters came out to play in this one as senior Santasia Sturgis led everyone with 22 kills, while senior Taylor Duryea added 18 of her own. The team hit an incredible 348 in the final 3 sets to improve their record to 2-2.
So now we bring in our first guest, head coach of the cross-country team, Trent Mack. Coach, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate you guys having me.
So you began your second season with MSU Denver. Can you tell us how your first year went as head coach and what were some lessons you learned along the way?
I mean, it's always a transition. I think the biggest thing is just, grasping that communication between the athletes, and especially in the sport of cross country and track. I mean, we're fortunate that we go from season to season, so we're competing in the fall, but then again, we're competing in the winter and spring, and so we're able to build on that. I think in the fall, we spent a lot of time just kind of balancing that communication, so they understood what I was trying to explain in terms of what we're trying to accomplish any given day with efforts and intensity. But building right into the track season, you tend to see things really build from there. And I think we saw a lot more progress during the track season, and in turn, I think that's really carried into this fall again.
So as your first meet of the new season takes place on September 1st, as head coach, what are you looking for as you head to Colorado Springs for the Rust Buster?
Honestly, the first meet's pretty relaxing for me. I sit back and really observe. We were hoping to accomplish put in a lot of work this summer, but it's really just building a foundation. And so this first meet, it's a little different than other sports. Our goal is to be really running well, competing at our best at the end of the season. So we get a little bit of leniency, and we don't have to be quite, at the top of our game early season. So sit back and observe and try to learn a little bit about the new faces on the team, how they compete, where we are as a team, and kind of what things we can work on through the heart of the season.
So talking about the new faces, on the men's side, you bring in 7 freshmen to your squad. Who are you relying on to help the runners transition for Metro's Roadrunner?
On the men's side?
Yes.
We lost some valuable seniors, so we are going to rely a little bit on some young faces. We're not as deep as we hope to be in the future, and I say that just because on the men's side it's a little bit more of a transition for seniors coming out of high school. You jump up in distance. At the end of the season we're racing 10,000 meters. They're used to 5,000 in high school, so it's a big adjustment in terms of the volume that they have to train. But we got some young guys, Nick Nowlin, Manny Lujan, that I think have some cross-country experience. Nick has a background in soccer, but he competed in cross, so I think his athleticism will help him in the season. But again, with freshmen on the guy side, a lot of times, I give them a little bit of a free pass their first year. If they can come in and really make an impact, it's outstanding. But more often than not on the men's side, you lean a lot on your upperclassmen just because of the strength and maturity factor in that distance of a race.
So what is the hardest thing for freshmen to figure out? Is it the speed in college? Is it the college life of classes, the altitude? What do you think then?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of balance of everything, but again, going back to that on the men's side, it's a big jump in volume. They don't typically train this kind of volume in high school because they don't have to. They don't race this kind of distance. On the women's side, it's a little bit different. It's more the adjustment to the intensity. I think they do a lot more intensity. So it's kind of two extremes on both sides, but there's an adjustment to be made. And then again, just a new environment. Every coaching style is a little bit different, and so working with a lot of different individuals who respond to different approaches, and so communicating and helping me understand, how they're feeling day to day, so we can make those adjustments and continue to make that balance.
So yeah, on the women's side, it looks like you have a lot more talent coming back there in this season.
Yeah, opposite on the men's side. On the men's side, we graduated some seniors. We returned everybody on the women's side, which is always nice. We have some great upperclassmen and some leadership, and they look good. I mean, they put in the work this summer, and again, I think it's building off of last season. So I'm excited about that, and our young girls that came in are jumping right in stride with them, and the upperclassmen are keeping them honest. So I'm excited. It'll be a little bit scary going into next year because we do have a lot of upperclassmen that will lose after this year, but we're going to try to make the most of it. With their experience and the work that they put in, they're pretty excited for the season.
Is there a big difference in how you train these athletes during the cross-country season than the long-distance running in the track and field season?
In the track season, it's not as different for those individuals that race those long races like 10,000 meters, 5,000, but we have a handful of individuals, probably half our team, that we get into the track season, they drop down and they'll race the 800 and the 1500, maybe the steeplechase, especially some of these new freshman guys coming in. A lot of them are middle distance background, so for them it's a big extreme, and they get on the track more workouts, more intensity. They get a little bit away from the aerobic side. They look forward to that change eventually, just the drop in volume. But in terms of the long distance people, it's pretty similar year round. You just you learn a little bit more consistent pacing on a track because there's less variables. You have a flat track and you got lap splits every lap, so we do a little bit more consistent stuff.
So I think the casual cross country or track and field fans see the sport as just first place, second place, third place, and so on. While everyone wants to be competitive, it has to be more than just finishing first, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking to, for our team in itself, we're just looking to build off of last year and move forward in the conference, move forward in the region. I think I talked about it last year when I came into the RMAC in this region. It's one of the, if the not top region and conference in cross country in Division II across the country. And so I love that we see that level of competition, but we know that we'll be competing at a high level when we can compete in the conference. So we get to see that competition a lot, and I think for us, for them, I look at it like I'm just looking for somebody. I don't want them to establish specific places. Like, you're not our 3 runner, you're not our 1 runner. I want them to be willing and ready whenever that day comes to take advantage of that opportunity. And that's the biggest thing when you're talking about competing in a sport like cross country and running, just with the body and the stress and recovery, is you got to be ready when it counts and be able to take advantage of it. And that's what we're trying to learn throughout the season.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we're so excited to see what you and your runners do this fall, and best of luck at Rustbuster.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
We'll be taking our first break, but before we do that, it's time to bring you the tweet of the week. It comes from our women's soccer team, who held their annual alumni game this past Saturday, and boy, did the former Roadrunners come out in droves. It was a great turnout, as former greats such as Becca Mays, Katie Kilby, and Elise Bernard all came out to keep their amazing tradition of women's soccer going here at MSU Denver. Time for a break, but we're coming right back with some women's soccer talk up next on the Coach's Corner.
Enough. Yeah, I'm over it.
We shouldn't need commercials to tell you we're powerful.
No thanks.
Genders don't play sports. Athletes do.
Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference is committed to sportsmanship.
We take pride in the conduct of our student athletes and coaches.
And ask that everyone, coaches, athletes, and spectators, treat opponents and officials with respect.
We encourage you to cheer for your favorite team.
Unruly, threatening, or obscene behavior will not be condoned.
Thank you for your cooperation and support.
I'm Erica Ruiz, a senior on the women's cross country team, and you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
So glad you're back. Before we talk with Coach Chow, we want to make sure that you're getting ready for that 3-year anniversary that's happening right here at the Tivoli Tap House. The Tap House kicking off Oktoberfest with 3-year anniversary party. The event will take place on September 7th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and will feature live bands and Stein holding competition, raffles, and much, much more. You can buy VIP tickets for automatic entries into raffles and unlimited tasters. You don't want to miss this great event, so visit TivoliBrewingCo.com for more information on the Tap House 3-year anniversary party. So now we welcome in head coach of the women's soccer team, Tracey Chow. Coach, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is your second season as head coach. Can you tell us how your first year went with the Roadrunners?
Yeah, it was good. It was a solid season. Knowing the program and the history of the program, so knowing what I was getting into in terms of what MSU Denver women's soccer is all about. So getting an opportunity to have first season. It was quick. I started in March, and then a few months later we're starting. So it was a solid season, but certainly, have a lot more depth and looking forward to starting this season this week.
So your squad took on the alumni squad this past Saturday. First off, tell us about how that game went, and secondly, how amazing it was to see all those former Roadrunners come back to play. It looked like a huge turnout.
It's good. I'll tell you, our alumni here is probably one of the best alumni base in programs that I've been a part of. There's just such a passion and pride for them to come back. So there's a field that's riddled with national champions, All-Americans, current pro players. So it's not just an easy, hey, alumni, let's get some of these old guys out to dust off their boots. There's a lot of them that are still playing. So it's a really great environment, which is fun. So it was a good game. It's always a good game. It's challenging for us. It's fun for our girls to see who they are, and also introduce themselves and have that. So yeah, it's always an awesome event. It's something that I always look forward to, and really just talking with the alumni and hearing their stories, their glory days, I think is one of my favorite parts of the year.
Can you tell us who you've named as your team captains for 2018 and what you expect to see out of those athletes?
Yeah, so first of all is senior Emily Romer, was voted captain. She's a defender for us, has been a consistent defender for us, and will continue to be that. She certainly has great leadership qualities in terms of driving the team and making sure that everybody's connected. She does a really great job and has a very good voice on the field as well. Next up we have Mckenna Broussard, who is another defender for us who is just a huge presence for us in the back line. So another great personality, just really energetic and intense, which is awesome. So she's made really good connections with our new players and with our current players. So she's continuing to be a really good force for us. And then Erica Torres is in goal for us as our other captain. So she's somebody that's coming back and continue to grow and mature in the game, which has been awesome. She's certainly somebody that's mentally extremely tough and strong and has been a huge person in between the posts for us. So you need somebody that has that presence in between the posts. So it's good to have her in that little captain's group as well.
So, speaking of Erica, we're going to be having her on the show a little bit later. She had made all-conference in both of her years so far. What is it about her that makes her such a great goalkeeper?
There's a lot of qualities. Who she is as a person is a huge one. Unbelievable person, team-centric. She's committed, and her focus in the game is awesome. So that's from a coach's perspective, coachable, and has that great passion and ability to really just be an awesome teammate. And on the technical side of her game, she's just a consistent player. She's got great hands, distributes the ball really well, and is really starting to, like I said, grow in confidence as she continues to get older in her career here. So yeah, there's a lot of qualities about her as a person and player that really helps the program and has helped the younger players get acclimated to the program as well in college soccer.
You add 14 new faces to the squad, and that's definitely more than you have returners. Does that make you nervous as head coach to have those new bodies, or are you more excited because that's like your first recruiting class?
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's got different balances that we have to deal with in terms of getting the new players immediately integrated into what the intensity, the speed of play, what college soccer is all about. that's a challenge in itself. But it's also exciting because it is a really strong class. I'm really excited to see how they continue to grow. They're certainly going to be impactful players within this new crop of players coming in. So you're going to see a lot of them getting time on the field and really competing to play. So there's it's got its different challenges both ways. We're young in a lot of ways, but I think that the overall team and where we're at is really good. So
for your very first game of the season, you're going to be heading on the road to take on Texas A&M Commerce. Do you feel good about the lay of the land in terms of where you'll play your athletes, or are these first few games going to decide where these players are going to line up on the field?
Yeah, good question. We had a great preseason. We had 2 solid scrimmages and scored 6 great goals. So I really like where we're at right now and what we're doing tactically as a team. So I've gotten a chance to see them over the last 2.5 weeks in terms of what players' capabilities are, where we're going to fit in, and where players are going to fit in. So I think these obviously 2 immediate great tests with Texas A&M Commerce and Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist was our first win last season, and we know that they're a tough opponent. Texas A&M Commerce and both Dallas Baptist are NCAA tournament teams, so they come with experience, they come with that sort of championship mentality and postseason mentality, which is something that we haven't necessarily looked at right now early. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm glad where we are right now. I like where we're at. So we'll see what happens there. We can only worry about ourselves right now.
Right.
So we saw former women's soccer coach Danny Sanchez go into the RMAX Hall of Fame this past summer. What went through your mind as you watched him get inducted and listened to his acceptance speech?
Yeah, I've known Danny Sanchez for a long time. I knew him when he was the head coach here in Wyoming and now at CU. So he's been a good friend and a mentor of mine for many years. He's an incredible coach and even more incredible person, somebody that I've been able to get to know a lot. So yeah, he's clearly set the standard and the bar. I think his winning record was 96% or something like that. So, there's certainly a bar and tradition that he created here, which is unbelievable. So there's definitely that tradition that I'm hoping to get the program back to, which is awesome. So yeah, what a great guy, what a great honor. Excited that he was inducted into the conference RMAC Hall of Fame, and I'm super pumped that he's going to be inducted into our Hall of Fame here this October.
So if you were going to be inducted into a Hall of Fame, who would you ask to introduce you before you went up on stage? Because Eric over there seems to think it will be him and a bag of gummy bears. Hey,
if he brings a bag of gummy bears, I'll let him do it. He knows the way to my heart. Well, let's not go there quite yet. I've still got a ways to go. So I'll put him in the list of he's pretty high on the list with the gummy bears. So I don't want to think that far ahead. We're not there yet.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we wish you the very best as you start the 2018 season this Thursday against Texas A&M Commerce.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Connor.
So we'll be taking another break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be talking more soccer with all-conference goalkeeper Erica Torres up next on the Coach's Corner.
I'm Kyle Jones. I'm a junior this year on the cross-country team. You're watching the Coach's Corner, and get rowdy.
Welcome back to the show. Before we talk to Erica, we want to make sure to remind you that you can keep up with all our Roadrunner sports on our Twitter account at MSU Denver Sports. From game highlights to score updates to game recaps, you can stay in the game at MSU Denver Sports on Twitter. So now we say hello to junior goalkeeper Erica Torres from the women's soccer team. Erica, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So how did the game go for you, the alumni game go for you, and how did you like it? Was it fun seeing all those old faces playing?
I mean, it was definitely great to see like your former teammates, their teammates, and just kind of seeing where they're at was great. I mean, we didn't play the best. They were definitely smarter than us. You know, we just try to outrun them, just outmove them, and they're just like, no, we're just going to sit back and stay. So, I mean, that was a little rough, but other than that, it was great seeing familiar faces and just kind of asking them how they're doing, how the program was for them. So it was a great experience.
So there ended up being a pretty good turnout there at that alumni game.
Yeah.
What does that say to you as a current player about the tradition in women's soccer here at MSU Denver?
I mean, it really just kind of proves that we are a family. I mean, most teams would just say that, but like you said, just having those numbers there, like it really shows that like the women and girls, former players, like really do care about this program and really do want the best. And like I myself I want the best for this program, and I would love to return and play against new players.
Coach has named you as one of the captains for 2018. Tell us what that means to be a captain, and what kind of role do you need to play other than just a goalkeeper?
I mean, that really just proves Tracy has trusted me and wants me to have like a bigger role. I myself really wanted to like have a bigger role, be present. I mean, me being a goalkeeper, I see everything, and so I'm kind of in charge of that back line, that midfield. So I mean, just kind of being a captain has validated my efforts and like everything that I've done. So I mean, I'm just ready for it.
So being a captain, that usually comes with a bit of a leadership role, especially with 14 new players on the team this season. What are some things that you're telling them to get acclimated to Coach Chow's system?
I mean, Tracy's just super intense. I mean, you couldn't tell by this interview, but like, I mean, she expects like high intensity, pressure, just your best at everything. Like she said, 1% more, like always, like get your foot over that line, maybe do that one more sprint. So I mean, I think that's definitely probably the hardest thing to adjust is just her intensity and expectations. I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary, but it's definitely a lot to deal with.
You were actually recruited by former coach Adrian Pete, but you got to see firsthand what Coach Chao is trying to do here at MSU Denver. So tell us what kind of coach she is and what she is really doing to build something for this great program.
I mean, Tracy's a great person, great coach. I mean, you know, some would say, oh, we're a D2 program, like you can just kind of relax, it's not a D1. Like, no, she has those D1 like expectations, like, yeah, we're D2, but we're gonna be the best D2 in the conference. I mean, she, you know, wants us to do well outside and inside of soccer, but like she just really wants us to like thrive as a team, thrive as people, just a community.
So let's talk about you a little bit. You're a California kid. You grew up in Bakersfield, a pretty small town compared to Denver.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you ended up all the way out here in the Mile High City.
I mean, to be honest, MSU Denver wasn't on my radar. I knew school existed. My cousin was the former coach. So, I mean, like, I knew she played there. I just never would have thought I would be here. So, I mean, she was looking for a goalkeeper. I was looking for a spot, and just everything came together perfectly, and I just said, okay.
So can you tell us what you're majoring in and what you want to do once you finish school?
So I'm a history major with a concentration in secondary education. So I want to do like middle school and up with history, obviously. But I mean, I hope to just kind of climb the ranks and maybe get in the administration, kind of coach some soccer maybe. But yeah, I mean, I just really want to like put a different spin on history. I mean, most people are like, oh, I hate it, like it's a bunch of writing, a bunch of reading. Like, I mean, it can be, yeah, but I just kind of want to put that new like twist in and bring a little fun to it. And
do you want to do that here in Colorado?
I'm going to get my license in Colorado, so I mean, I'd love to get a job here. I mean, I'd love to move here, maybe stay in Denver or around areas, but I mean, at this point, who knows? I may be in California, Colorado, Texas, I don't even know. Like, hopefully, yeah.
Okay. So on RoadrunnersAthletics.com, in your player bio, it says you have a brother and a sister. Are they also athletes?
So my brother, he's my twin brother, he played club volleyball until like middle school. I mean, Bakersfield, like you said, is small, so they don't really have a lot of boys wanting to play volleyball. So I mean, he did that, and then my sister did shot put and hammer for our local JC and our university.
So in that case, who would you say is the best athlete in the family?
Oh, you're gonna get me in trouble there. I mean, let's just say myself. I mean, it's totally different sports. I mean, my sister Alicia, that's individual. I mean, she was top in her school and just really pushed herself, and like she's super strong. She can probably like lift me and then some. I mean, me, I'm like more of a speed person. I can't really lift a lot. So I mean, it's a toss-up. I'm not going to answer that.
Well, Erica, thanks so much for coming on the show, and best of luck to you in 2018.
Thank you, guys.
So before we end today's show, we want to tell you what's to come in Roadrunner sports this week. Let's start with Erica and her women's soccer team. They'll head to Commerce, Texas on Thursday to take on Texas A&M Commerce, which will kick off at 2 p.m. Then it's back to Denver for the home opener on Saturday, where the Roadrunners will host Dallas Baptist at 1 p.m. The men's soccer season also gets underway this week. The men will host St. Mary's University at the Regency Athletic Complex this Friday night at 6 p.m. Then on Sunday, the Hilltoppers from St. Edwards will come to downtown Denver to battle MSU Denver at 1 p.m. Check out RoadrunnerAthletics.com for all the info on tickets and video links.
After their Washington State trip last weekend, our volleyball team will be back home at the Auraria Event Center for the Colorado Premier Challenge. They'll first take on Texas A&M Commerce on Friday at 2:30 to kick off the tournament. Then they'll take on the defending Division II national champions in Concordia St. Paul later on that evening at 6 p.m. Based on how the Roadrunners finish on Friday will determine when and where they will play on Saturday. So again, check out RoadrunnersAthletics.com for the schedule and the links to the live broadcasts.
And finally, Coach Trent Mack and his cross-country crew will head to Colorado Springs for their first meet of the 2018 season. They will compete in the UCCS Rust Buster, so we wish them the best of luck as they get their new season underway. So that's going to do it for this week's show. We want to thank Coach Mack, Coach Chow, and Erica for coming on the show. Just a reminder, we will not have a show next week due to Labor Day weekend, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm Tony Almanza. Thank you, Connor, as well, for helping host.
Absolutely.
I'm Tony Almanza. We'll see you next time on The Coach's Corner.